Hello and welcome back to This Podcast Takes Tokens. I'm Ryan, joined by my excellent brother Derek.
Ready.
We're here to talk about things that we grew up with, things that we loved. We're two millennials, and we just had a lot of things that we enjoyed. And so that's what we're here to do. Before we get into that, though, we are going to do a little thing we call Retro Ramble. We ask each other a question the week before, let it mull over for the week, and then answer it now. So Derek, my question that I had for you last week was, what non-comic book character would be considered an Omega level mutant? So in X-Men, they have Omega level mutants. These are mutants that have, like, their power is infinite, basically. Top, yeah. So you've got like Magneto, you've got Professor Xavier, Jean Grey, Emma Frost, Cable. The list goes on.
Wait, are we matching today?
We are. That was not planned.
That was not. This was a hard one. You threw this at me, and at first I was like, okay, I can think of something, and I was racking my brain all week. Like, this is hard. Like, most superheroes in movies are based on comic book characters. It's really hard. I put a lot of thought into this.
I'm glad.
I think it comes down to, well, I'm gonna say Neo from The Matrix with the parentheses Keanu Reeves, because he's a Omega level action star in everything that he's been in. Like, you got the John Wick series, you've got The Matrix, like even going back to Speed. But I would say Neo from The Matrix. He's not comic book based, I don't think, right?
No, he's not. Okay. That's good.
That's about all I could come up with. I couldn't really think of any.
He's the one, right?
Yeah, he's the one,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to add to that, but yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
What'd you come up with? Because I'm curious what you got.
You're going to love this. You're going to love it.
It might be my number 2, but go on.
Okay, well, Elsa from Frozen.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she puts a whole kingdom in a perpetual winter.
Yeah.
She builds a castle, a fortress out of nothing, out of ice. She creates life with Olaf. Like,
so definition, textbook
definition. Yeah. No, well, last time we watched that is when I had this thought. Not for the question, but last time we were watching that movie, which it was a while ago. She's not into Frozen right now, but I was like, I think it's Elsa an Omega level mutant. And the more I got to think about it, I'm like, she is. So it came back to me last week, and I thought, that'd be a good question.
That's a good question. That was a good one.
So, yeah.
I'd be curious to see what other people think in the comments.
I know. Yes, in the comments, let us know what you think. What non-comic book character do you think should be considered, or would be considered, an Omega level mutant if they were in the X-Men universe? So let us know.
Absolutely.
It'll be fun to see. And with that, we're going to roll the intro. We'll be back, and we will talk about what we're going to talk about this week. Stick with us.
Surprise. Your local video store card.
A comic book in your back pocket.
Games with no tutorials.
Music you had to discover.
And drinking water straight from the hose.
These are the things us millennials remember fondly. We are the Jennings brothers.
Join us after the streetlights come on
as we race our bikes from the top of the hill
right down memory lane.
Exchange those quarters, because this podcast takes tokens. Do you understand the words that are coming out of this podcast takes tokens? I don't know. It's terrible. That's the only thing I can think of for this. It's so bad. We're talking Rush Hour today. Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan, fun action movie from the late 90s. I really enjoyed going back and watching this movie again. Released September 18th, 1998. Going to run through the numbers here. A budget of $35 million. Derek, what's your guess on...
I expected the budget to be bigger. I gotta say, 35 million. I was expecting at least 50. All right.
Subsequent sequels had a higher budget.
Oh, yeah.
Worldwide earnings. What do you think?
Worldwide.
I couldn't find domestic, but worldwide.
Yeah, usually, yeah. Okay, worldwide. I'm going to go with 300
million. You're a little over.
Okay.
$244 million. But still, for a budget of $35 million, that's a smash hit.
That's why we got 2 sequels and a TV show and another sequel on the way. Actually, I think there's 3 sequels. Wasn't there a 4th one?
No, they're on. No? They're supposedly making a 4th one.
Oh, okay, 4's one that's in the making. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, before I get into our Rotten Tomatoes meter, we like to look on here and see. And just FYI, if you're new with us, we don't look at these numbers before we watch these movies. So that it doesn't like skew our rewatch of these. This is something that we look at, particularly the person that's hosting the episode, whether it's me or Derek, before we go on the air.
If I remember.
And it's just, if he remembers. And it's just kind of a way for us to see what maybe audience members and critics thought of the movie around the time it came out. So before I get into that, though, interesting tidbit, this movie, Rush Hour, is the reason we have Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Because the creator of Rotten Tomatoes, the creator of Rotten Tomatoes knew this movie was coming out. So he compiled, for whatever reason, all the reviews of every earlier Jackie Chan movie. And he put them on, he made a rating out of them, like we have with our Rotten Tomatoes scores. And he posted them on a website in anticipation for Rush Hour. And because of that, we have Rotten Tomatoes now. So
interesting.
Yeah. All right, our tomato meter, which is the critics reviews of this. What do you think our tomato meter? What do you think the critics thought of this?
Oh, let's see. 100 is great, right? I'm gonna say the critics probably put it at around. I'm gonna go mid to upper 40s. 45 to 50.
They liked it a little better than that. 62%.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Popcorn meter. So
that I'm gonna put higher. I'm gonna put that in the 70s.
It's usually higher.
Yeah.
It's 79%.
Okay. So, wow. Again, higher than that. I was thinking lower 70s, but upper 70s. Wow.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah. Not too bad.
Yeah. Pretty good. Really good. I think that might be our top one so far. I gotta start writing these down.
Oh yeah, because this is new to us, doing the tomato meters and stuff like that. Within just these last couple episodes of kind of what we started doing, and when we do game episodes or something, we should maybe do like a Metacritic rating on there.
Yeah, we got to find something. Yeah, some sort of a non-partial, universal metric.
Yeah. Anyway, what did you think? What did you think of Rush Hour on the rewatch?
Oh man, I gotta put my brain. I'm shifting gears back again. Yeah, that was it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think it was funner the first time I saw it, and this time it was a fun watch, but I don't anticipate going back and watching it again anytime soon. I think I'll see it again. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not jonesing to go back to it again. I am kind of curious to go back and watch the sequels, though. I think I'd watch those before I go back and watch it again. How about you?
I agree with you. I agree with you. It was fun to watch. I got my stepson Landon to watch it with me. Oh. It's just the girls in the house are out for the week, so it's just him and I hanging out. And we went and got something. Actually, we went and got Chinese last night, and then came back and watched. So that was unintentional, but that's what we did. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I remember when this movie first came out, I really wanted to see it. think I went with our Aunt Kathy and Linda and watched it in the theaters. But yeah, on a rewatch, it was still fun. I still enjoyed it, but I felt like there was just it didn't hit exactly like it did the first time
Yeah.
watched it. That's not to say it was bad. That's not to say I didn't enjoy it,
No.
but I'm yeah, I am interested to go back. Actually, I think I've only seen Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2. I don't believe I've seen the third one. So
Oh.
I'd be interested to go back and watch that one and watch Rush Hour 2. But well, yeah, it was it's fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um. So the whole I don't know, how familiar are you with Jackie Chan and his work previously?
I mean, I'm a little higher than a I guess than a novice level. Like I've watched several of his movies. Um Drunken Master is my favorite. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
it's so good.
that's a good one.
That coal scene when he's just like backpedaling over those hot coals is
Oh yeah.
but anyway, yeah. I mean, I've seen some of his movies. Certainly haven't seen every single one of them. But I feel like I'm familiar enough with Jackie Chan to,
Okay, so have you seen like the Police Story movies?
is that like the is that's not like the Rumble in the Bronx or anything, is it?
No, that's just
Was
like
that one of
he's
them?
just like a police officer in, I think, Hong Kong, I believe.
Hmm.
If I remember correctly. I think I've only seen like the first and second one. But there was
Okay.
like
Is
a
that that
whole
one
long
where he got
series.
like seriously hurt in one of those? I think that was
I
one
think
where he
so.
like fell
Yeah.
through the like a roof or something like that. But anyway, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But they've been around for a while. I want to say like they went through like five of them, or I mean, like there was a lot of them. But anyways, the opening to this just kind of like I'd only seen a couple of them
Hmm.
back in like the early 2000s whenever I got on like a really big Jackie Chan kick with my friends, and we just like went to like the local video store and we rented like all the Jackie Chans we could, and we'd watch
Hmm.
them on the weekends. And the beginning of this just kind of reminded me of like it felt like they decided, okay, let's make a police story, but let's set it in America, or let's bring that character over here and we'll team him up with an American cop, and we'll kind of do like a buddy action cop movie.
Hmm.
And Chris Tucker, I guess, was popular enough that he was the one they decided to do that with. I was looking at while I was talking, I was pulling up Jackie Chan.
Hmm.
They did a police story in as recent as 2004, a new police
Oh,
story. So
okay.
it's been,
Still with him in it.
yeah, still with him in it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Super
Okay.
Cop was the other series. Maybe that's what I was
Oh,
thinking.
that's
It was
right.
Super
Yeah.
Cop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gosh, he plays a cop a lot, doesn't
he does.
he?
A cop, a drunken fool, or
Yeah.
fish out of water.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
he's
funny you
always
mention
fun.
that though, because Jackie Chan was like that's who they wanted for this movie. Like they he was first in mind when they wrote this. Like they wanted Jackie Chan for that role.
Who else would you use? Jet Li
For
at the time?
yeah,
But he's
yeah.
not as
I
funny.
mean, yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. Jackie Chan's got that. He's got that action star, but then he's got the humor,
Yeah.
behind him. But interestingly, so Chris Tucker was not the first choice for this. So they had Martin Lawrence was originally who they
I could
wanted
see
for
that.
this. Yep,
Yeah.
totally see it. But I couldn't find why he passed on it. I'm trying to remember when Bad Boys came out, so I don't know if maybe he was shooting Bad Boys at the time and had scheduling conflicts, or maybe a sequel to maybe Bad Boys 2. I can't
Bad
remember
Boys
when
was
that.
2000, was 95 was the first one. The second
Okay,
one was right around 2000, I want to say. Maybe
okay,
2002.
maybe he was. I don't know, but he didn't take the role. Obviously, they also had Eddie Murphy, which
Hmm.
I could see. He was in Beverly Hills Cop movies and everything.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes, which I don't. That's one I'm like,
Eh, he's too serious. That'd be
he's
like
too
putting Jet
serious.
Li in Jackie Chan's spot. It's just that he doesn't have the humor for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I should say
It,
Wesley Snipes carries himself too seriously for that kind of
yes,
role.
he does. He does. Um, and then the one that I think would have been fun. Dave Chappelle was actually up for this role too. Um,
Oh, okay.
but
That would be fun.
obviously they end up going with Chris Tucker, who I think Chris Tucker just did a smashing job with this. He did so
Yeah.
good with it.
This is
It
like a
was
part that he was born for, it seems like.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and like the trailer we're watching, it's like those are like the classic lines that they're playing on that trailer. Like, that block was already messed up. You
Mm-hmm.
understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. And there's just zinger after zinger with him. It's great. I love it. And
Go ahead. I don't want to.
no,
I'm sorry.
that's all. That was it. I was just gonna ramble a little bit more. Go on.
Well, I love that. So that's one of my favorite scenes is when Lee comes off the plane.
Yeah.
And Carter meets him, and he's trying to communicate with him, and do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth and all this stuff? And he does just the classic American thing of, if they don't understand me, I'm just going to speak louder. and then they're going to understand me, and they don't. So I'm going to speak. I'm going to intensify it even more.
Right. Which doesn't help.
No.
No. Yeah. There was definitely that. I think was one of the things that kind of on rewatch made me go, maybe this wasn't as enjoyable as the idiot American take that Chris Tucker had with like you said, speaking loudly at the foreigner, and like you put your own bags in the back, which was kind of funny, but like just the way he would like down talk to him and was like treating him like almost less than, because he didn't speak English or all this stuff, which he spoke English. You just assumed that he didn't speak English. You assumed. I didn't say I didn't, which was the great. That was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. If you just let the person keep talking, you kind of understand what they're
which is
they're made of.
An excellent philosophy.
Yeah,
like if you're quiet long enough, people will tell you so much more.
Yep.
And it kind of, there's a power to that. Like just let people talk, and they'll reveal a lot more than they want to.
Yeah.
But this has one of my favorite tropes, and it's early on. Whenever I can't remember exactly when it was, but at some point I think it was whenever they're kidnapping the girl, and somebody says the line, "No problem, it's just rush hour," and they insert the name of the movie into the thing. It was great. I liked it.
So that's something that got to me about this movie, rewatching it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I haven't watched this movie for years, which is par for the course with most of these that we end up doing. But they're stealing Han's daughter, and there are a lot of variables that could be taking place in this whole transaction, where they're like, oh, we're going to make the phone call right as he's going out to the car, so he has to come back in. We're going to make sure, we're going to put the police officer there to reroute this vehicle the other direction. What was the other thing? Oh yeah,
like horrible security detail to be like, oh, you're just going to reroute just our car? Sure, we're going to go this way.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I don't know, just the other guy pulling out in front of them with a police car, and I just felt like this is like,
it was a little clunky.
Everything had to have just like fallen into place exactly for all this.
That girl fought like hell too. She was going to make it.
Oh man!
She was going to get out of there.
She should have been the star in Rush Hour 2.
Right. Yeah, how come she didn't come back for it? That should be the next one, is like, she's now a police detective.
Yes.
That should be Rush Hour 4
there we go.
or whatever.
There we go.
Next. Yeah, that'd be a good one. I got that. So this has an interesting setup in the beginning, because I don't know if you know, I mean, I didn't know, honestly, until like I'm watching this movie and they start out and they're talking about the British handing over rule over Hong Kong back to China. in the beginning, and that's kind of like what's setting all this up. That was an sorry, hit my microphone. That was an actual thing that
Yeah.
happened at this time. I wasn't aware that I took history class at this time, social
Mm-hmm.
civics and stuff, and never, I don't remember. I mean, I maybe wasn't the best student, but I don't remember any of that. and they were talking about it in the movie, and I was like, oh, is this an actual thing? And I looked up, and I'm like, sure enough, this actually like happened at this
Yeah.
time. Wow, interesting. And
Yeah.
it kind of went down a little rabbit hole on that, but I didn't get too deep into it. I don't know if, well, your wife wasn't around, but I know she's like a history teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, and it makes me wonder. I didn't do the research, so if anybody is
Yeah,
listening and has more
this isn't a
information
history
on this than we
podcast.
do, no, we have no idea. But I almost like I seem to think, because I looked up, like, Jackie Chan was born in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Um, I wonder if, like, Hong Kong, is it technically part of China, or is it self-governed? I almost think it's self-governed.
Oh, interesting.
Um,
I wonder if it's like, is it like Puerto Rico with America?
I
Maybe.
I want to I want to say it's something similar to that. Again, this isn't a geography, a history podcast or anything, so it could be completely wrong. But I thought that Hong Kong was a separate entity from the Chinese government.
You know, now that we're talking about it, I think it actually is part of China. Because, like,
Okay.
if you're sending something or you're receiving something from Hong
Mm-hmm.
Kong, it's coming from Hong Kong, China. Like, whenever you say Hong Kong, it's like
Mm-hmm.
Hong Kong,
Mm-hmm.
China. It's not Hong
Mm-hmm.
Kong something else, or it's not something within
Yeah,
Hong Kong. It's Hong Kong,
that's true.
China.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I gotta imagine, this is just me speaking completely uneducatedly. It's part of China. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
declare it right here and right now. It is part
yeah,
of China.
yeah. There we go. Okay. Yeah.
We
If
set
we
that record
find out
straight.
otherwise, that'll be on a stale popcorn on the later
There we go.
episodes.
We'll make it
So
G14 classified.
yes, yeah, that was great. But well, that brings me to, so you were talking about Chris Tucker's character, about Carter being kind of like, the stereotypical, like, or the way they portrayed him as an American, or whatever.
Yeah.
They portrayed these FBI agents as just complete buffoons.
Yeah.
You know, um, I don't know. I get it. I get it. Like, the whole point is, you know, Carter's better than everybody thinks he is, and he's better at his job than people think he is, and just
His
because
mouth's
he's in
just
the
getting ahead of him.
LAPD. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I liked to see those guys get it, especially the kind of the guy in charge. I know he didn't get killed. I didn't want him to get killed, but he got shot, and I'm like, yes, like, you got a little bit
You
of what
know,
was coming to you.
I'm watching the beginning of it, and they've got the guy. Oh, what's his name? I can't remember his name. He's been in so many other things. He was one of the FBI agents that he was kind of like he was the one at the end. Rex Lynn. He was on.
Oh, the balding guy, was that it?
Yeah. He was on
Yeah.
Cliffhanger and like a couple other things.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything else, but I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff. Anyways, I thought, oh yeah, I remember. Isn't he the bad guy, or he turns out to be like a double bad guy or something like that? And I couldn't remember because it'd been so long since I'd seen the movie. And then it turned out that he wasn't. But I was like, the whole time I'm
Mm-hmm.
waiting for like him to turn. But
A
then the
double
building
cross.
explodes. Yeah, I'm waiting for the double cross.
Yeah.
But then there's like
Yeah.
that scene where like they're leading the FBI agents to that first drop or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, where they trace the call back to, and
Yep.
that whole floor explodes and it takes out a bunch of the FBI agents. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, he's really committed to this double agent thing if he's sending his friends up there to get blown up.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I was like, maybe that doesn't happen. I don't remember. And I'm kind of having this realization of like, I don't remember how this movie goes exactly. I kind of get
Yeah.
the I got the 10 poles, but the
Mhm.
everything in between, I'm kind of experiencing it again for the first time, which is interesting because it's been about
Yeah.
probably 20 years since I've seen this movie.
Oh, same. Yeah. And I was the same way, because like I was watching and I'm like, I can't really remember everything that happens. I know that they
Yeah.
drive around quite a bit, Los Angeles, and there's a lot of scenes with them in the convertible. But I had forgotten who the villain was. But as soon as that um, scene happened at the beginning, at the in the conference room,
Mhm.
and it panned over to the British guy, I'm like, oh, he's the villain. Like he just has that villain look to him, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like, you can tell like the way he kind of is acting, like, oh man, I wish that hadn't happened, but I can't let them see that, you know, this happened or whatever. Um, but then there was also, I knew from the very beginning that what's his? I can't remember the actor's name. He played Miles in Lost. He was
Ken Lewing.
the Ken. Yes, I knew that this guy's going to be the bad guy
Well, yeah,
because
'cause he's on the boat in the beginning as a bad guy.
well, yes, he is. But when you first see him, I'm like, he's the only
Oh.
Asian with blonde hair. So
okay.
like, and a lot of the, yes, it's a trope. Like a lot of these movies, the Asian that has different colored hair tends to be, I don't know why that is, tends to be the villain in these movies. Is it just
Or he's super intense. Like he was very intense.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
I don't think he ever smiled in his life. That guy was very intense.
Yeah.
So do you think this movie would have been a shorter movie if just from the beginning they would have trusted or they would have listened to Lee about like knowing anything about the case, having been close to the family?
Done. Cut and dry. Movie's over. Movie's over.
Roll credits 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much. They could have avoided so much trouble if they would have just been open to. I mean, this is like the problem with every FBI agent in a movie is they're like, they don't want to hear anything from anybody else. They want to feel like they have all the answers, which I can't imagine the FBI actually operates that way. But then again, like I've met people in real life that kind of do operate like that. They want to have all the answers, so I can kind of see it, but I don't know.
Like I've obviously never been involved in an investigation with the FBI having to collaborate with local law enforcement.
That's not how you spend your Saturday nights?
I wish. The closest I can get is watching X-Files or something. But
rerunning Rush Hour.
Yeah. So the beginning, I know we're talking about the beginning a lot, but when we first get introduced to Carter and he meets up with Chris Penn, right? And trying to get the C4 and everything. And the police officers come in, they're like, what's going on? He's trying to be like, hey, I'm undercover here, which
they weren't like, what's going on? They were like guns drawn.
Oh yeah,
laying on the ground.
Yeah,
they went hot fast.
So Chris Penn shoots, right?
Oh yeah,
and these guys go down. Chris Penn is on the ground by Carter's feet. Carter doesn't just jump on him and take the gun. He runs back and like rolls over the car, and then like gets his gun ready, giving Penn the time to get away into his vehicle. I'm like, just jump on him. He's right there. Just grab
that was
the gun.
The part that I was like, I was confused by. He ran and jumped over his car. Yeah, and like it was way like not even like right behind. Yeah, he could have just laid down next to him even between the cars and been in safe cover. But no, like you said, he went around the car and then dove over the car next to it. For cover, which was like a little far, but okay.
But
and both the cops have been shot at that point, so they've been
shot. Penn's on the ground. Just step on his hand, like he can't grab the gun. Get the gun out of his hand.
Flash badge, you're done.
Yep, that's
Your
it.
cover's blown.
Cut and dry.
But then we wouldn't have the, him chasing him down and then blowing up the C4 in the back of the truck, and then doing the little Michael Jackson move. Like we wouldn't have any of that.
Yeah, I know.
Was,
and that
all the
that was. The entire character and everything that happens with that character hinges on that one scene. So I get it. And it really
wraps him up.
It does. And I love when like he sees himself as just this complete bad A that works over there at the precinct. And nobody else sees him that way. They're like, this guy's an idiot. And especially like when the chief is giving him his assignment. And everybody's around there laughing. Yeah.
That was great. Like, they don't even take him seriously. Okay. To double back on the car thing, how does he afford this Stingray that he's got? Like, that is a gorgeous, expensive car.
Is. Yeah.
Even whenever it first came out, that was an expensive car. How does a LAPD officer afford this? Like, detective at best. How is he affording this car? Is he on the take?
We haven't seen his his apartment. Maybe he's got a
We don't
really
know his tax
trash
return
apartment.
situation or anything. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
he could maybe just
yeah.
live out of the car for all we
He might-
know.
Maybe he does lives in the car and then under his desk. Like I don't know. I don't know.
That was just something that I was like, there's no way he's affording this car. And then
Yeah.
I was thinking about it as I'm watching the movie. I was like, well, maybe he came from money. Like maybe his parents had some money. And then he started talking about his dad being a police officer. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
that's not it. He definitely didn't get it
Yeah.
there. But his dad was killed in the line of duty. So maybe there was a big settlement.
Yep.
I don't know. That one kind of stuck out on me.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really think about that, but
Oh, really? Well, cars
Yeah,
always stick
I don't
out to
know.
me. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I know.
I don't feel like I'm a big car person, but they always
Yeah.
stick out. I always notice them.
you're looking at him. Yeah. I don't know.
I do kind of like a car, I guess. I don't want a bunch. I just want one or two, maybe three. I don't know.
Just give me a DeLorean and a truck. That's all I need.
A black Toyota with the KC lights and everything.
yeah.
You really want two specific vehicles.
I do. Yes, both McFlys. Be fantastic. So, what was your? Did we go? What I gave my favorite scene. What was your favorite scene in this movie?
Oh man, I don't know. Like trying to think of one. I didn't really think of it. I didn't really. I mean, I don't know. I don't have one that's like coming straight to mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think whenever Jackie Chan is in the pool hall and he has to like take on all those guys all at once, and like there's that whole like that first kind of big fight scene with him. That was pretty neat. I enjoyed that. And then like in the whole time you've got Chris Tucker in the back room, like talking to his cousin or whatever. He's like, yeah, turns out to be his cousin. And, you know, he's like, take your hands off this suit. You know, your mama gave me this suit.
Your mom gave me this suit for Christmas. I really like this suit.
That was good. That whole thing, yeah, this is great. I like that. I enjoyed that very much. So,
Well,
I don't know if I have a favorite one right off the top of my head.
Yeah. I mean, so piggybacking off of that scene, I have no business saying this, and I'm not going to say it, but when Chris Tucker's walking in there and he's addressing all of the other black men with what he's saying, and then Jackie Chan goes and sits down.
That's where I was like, what?
Well, he didn't know. Like his character didn't know. It's not something
his character
didn't
know, but like still, I don't know if that would fly today. I don't know how well that would.
I don't think so.
Go.
I don't think, but it made for a very funny scene though.
Yeah.
That bartender's like, "What'd you say?"
Which is what led to
everything else.
Yes.
Yeah. Which
absolutely,
I don't care like what the movie is. Watching Jackie Chan be Jackie Chan is just a pure joy. Like doing all this stuff. The beginning when he's just like jumping through those little portholes and stuff. You're like, oh my gosh. Like this is
the physicality of him is amazing.
Yeah,
he was like, I don't know, like 50 at the time, like maybe in his mid to late 40s. Like he wasn't a young guy at this time. Like he was, and he's still going. Like it's crazy. He's physically he's a very good I guess actor, if you will. He has a really good command of his physical performance. And it's like it's studied. It's something that he's done since he was a child, and it shows. Like it's an art that he has perfected, and he is fantastic at. And yes, I would watch him in anything, just about. I think.
Oh yeah.
Except there's some things I haven't seen of his, but I just haven't gotten around to him.
Well, the most uncomfortable I get watching him is probably in this movie when he is walking across those rafters at the end, towards the end of the movie. I'm like,
they're rounded.
I mean, and I don't like heights.
No.
There's no way. I'd be no. There's no.
And he's known for doing all his own stunts.
Yep.
You know that had to have been at a great height with no wires. Man, just like it's impressive. It is amazing. Amazing for sure.
Yep.
It's a spectacle.
It is. That's what you're watching. That's I feel like anytime you get into a Jackie Chan movie, that's almost like the story is secondary. It's like I just want to see him do what he does. And that's kind of how I felt with this. Like the story was passable. The story was, it's a standard cop story.
It
you
probably
know,
wouldn't have done as well without, Jackie Chan at
Mhm.
the helm or as the co-star of this vehicle. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was fine.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I think we could say that about a lot of these like buddy cop movies from like the 80s and 90s. Is like
Yeah.
they were all really just trying to recapture, I don't know, to some extent, like Lethal Weapon or like the
Yeah.
success of like these earlier ones. And some of them not so good, but like you put the right person in the role and you got a really good film.
Mhm.
You put
Mhm.
the wrong person in the role and you're starting to tank somebody's career
Yeah.
in a lot of cases. And
Yep.
but fortunately for us, it worked out here. We got the right
Yeah.
pairing.
Yeah.
I had a note on here,
Yep. Go
and it
ahead.
was about this. We were talking about it earlier, and that's why I kind of want to circle back around to it. We were saying like it feels like this movie was somebody said, "Let's make Police Story, but let's put him in the U.S."
Mhm.
And I had a half thought on that earlier watching the movie. I couldn't find my note whenever we were talking about it, but it was that it feels like somebody said, "Let's make Beverly Hills Cop and a police story." So let's make Beverly Hills Cop
Yeah.
with a police story,
Mhm.
basically.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's kind of what this feels like, is they did like Beverly Hills Cop,
Yep.
but from Hong Kong instead
Mhm.
of Detroit. And then
No,
kind
I
of
agree
mixed
with
up the
you.
roles there, but
Yeah.
and it works.
Yeah.
It was a
It
lot of
does.
fun.
Now, I will say, I was in my little bit of research I did on this.
There we go.
Jackie Chan hated this movie.
Really?
Yeah, he hated it because
Was it the part where
he
they made him say the N word?
because that'd be me. Yeah.
That'd be me,
Um,
right?
he hated. He didn't think you could understand him, and he didn't think you
Oh,
could understand Chris Tucker, and he just hated the movie for it. And how they got him on board for the second one is they said, "Hey, we're going to put it in Hong Kong," and he was like, "Okay, I can do this." And then the third one, I guess they really had to twist both him and Chris Tucker's arms to make the third one. They neither one of them really wanted to do it, but money
just had to
talks,
start
and
stacking up piles of cash.
yeah.
Yep.
And so I'm curious how they've got them on board to do a fourth one. Of course, years have passed, and you see things differently, or
Mm-hmm.
it's the movies have
Stacks
gained
of cash.
popularity, and they're like, okay, we can do another one, come back
But
together.
really, like you look at like Chris Tucker,
Mm-hmm.
he hasn't done much,
Mm-mm.
really. In the grand scheme of thing, I can think of this franchise and Fifth Element off the top of my head.
Friday and next
Friday,
Friday.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like I
Or
can't
I
think of
don't know if he's
anything
in
else.
next Friday or not, but he's in Friday.
He's
Yeah.
I don't think he is, because I want to
Mm-hmm.
say I saw somewhere that like they had to they removed him in
That's
the
right.
next Friday
Yeah.
DVD. Like they digitally removed him from some like
Mm-hmm.
background photos or something like that. So they
Mm-hmm.
had to pay him royalties or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, I was looking through his IMDb and it's just like it's very short.
Mm-hmm.
It's 23 acting appearances. You got the 3 Rush Hours, you got the Fifth Element, Money Talks. I forgot about Money Talks.
Oh
He did
yeah.
Money
Yeah.
Talks, Jackie Brown, Friday. He did a bunch of Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey stuff. I guess he was in Silver Linings Playbooks, but I never saw it, so I don't know.
It's been so long since I've seen it. I don't remember
Yeah. And
who
he
he
was on
was in
Air.
there.
I remember seeing him on Air whenever I watched that.
Mm-hmm.
That was that recent one, the documentary about the Air Jordans. Or not
Oh,
documentary,
okay.
docudrama about the Air
Docudramas.
Jordans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him popping up in that. I was like, oh yeah, Chris Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he really hasn't done much. So
No.
I can imagine for the fourth one, it didn't take much of a big
Sure.
step.
We'll give you $20. Done.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I expected, I'm not expecting anything from anybody, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would have thought he would have done more. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised
Mm-hmm.
that it didn't. I guess maybe he just nothing, he's very selective, or he just
Mm-hmm.
decided to take a back seat, or maybe family. I don't know. I wanted
Well,
to
it
go
could
back and
be,
look into it a little more, but I just never did.
I mean, you look at him as his character,
Yeah.
and he kind of acts the same way in The Fifth Element. It's been a long
Oh, very
time
much
since
so.
I've seen Friday. I'm assuming he acts the same way.
But I mean, that
So,
was kind of his whole shtick, was just loud and
yeah.
motor mouth.
So that's kind of a when you get into a position like that. I think it was the same way with Pauly Shore. Like we've talked
Yeah.
about Pauly Shore last couple episodes. You, it's hard to get out of that when no one will give you a chance to get out of that because they see your work and they're like, oh, this is what he is, this is what he does, and that's just not going to fit with this movie. You know,
Yeah.
instead of giving somebody a chance, hey, come on in and read some lines for us, and we'll see how you do. You know, I don't know. That's just I've never worked in Hollywood. I don't know, but I would assume it's something like that because it, it's probably a strenuous process in most cases to try to find the right person for
Oh,
a
yeah.
role, and you
Yeah.
don't want to have to go through everybody in the book to do that. But,
And a lot of times you may have somebody in mind already.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So did you know that this was originally pitched to Disney? Can you imagine this as a Disney movie?
Well, I imagine they would have put it out as like a, what was that? Touchstone Pictures or something like that they had. They have that. They have like
Oh, did they
several
did
different.
they own that?
Yeah, they own Touchstone, and there was a couple others that they own. Like Armageddon came out under, Touchstone was just like a Disney or Jerry Bruckheimer's thing. Or there's a few
that.
like Turner and Hooch was a Disney movie that was under Touchstone, I believe.
It was, but Turner and Hooch did not have the.
Well, yeah, it was very Disney.
This was
it could have been straight Disney.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure this
View
movie
Vista,
would have been
yeah,
completely like cleaned up. Yes, Matt, thank you. Would have been completely cleaned up. This movie would have been if they would have done it. Let's just say it. How would this movie have looked if they would have done it in the Disney vein of movies?
Well, I mean, really, I don't think much would have changed. I think they would have just cleaned up the language a little bit. And other than that, there's nothing that like I don't see much else that they would change.
I don't think they could have had that little girl strapped with C4. I don't think they would have done it.
Oh, I think they would have.
Oh.
Yeah.
I disagree.
No.
I think it's a little far.
I'm gonna make this my stale popcorn for the next episode. Is I'm gonna find some Disney examples that will blow your mind. That's gonna be my stale popcorn next time.
That's what I want. That's what I want. prove me wrong, or change my mind, I guess, because right now I don't think this would be the same movie. But.
All right, I'll do that. I'm going through my notes as we're talking here, and a favorite scene does come to mind.
Okay.
And it's towards the end. Really, these aren't favorite scenes. I'm thinking about it as I'm talking, and really, it's just Jackie Chan throughout this whole. Like, you could just like condense all of Jackie Chan's physical parts, just the parts where he's being physical. That's my favorite part throughout this whole movie. Is all of Jackie Chan being physical.
Yep.
Any scene, and like the one that I'm thinking of right now is at the very last scene when they're in the art gallery and they're being shot at, and he's like, don't damage the art. That's my family's heritage or whatever. And the bad guys are like pushing over the vases, and he's jumping underneath of them and catching them and putting them back up and protecting them and everything. And then he takes out all the bad guys, and he goes to walk away, and somebody fires a stray bullet. It takes out one of the vases, and he's just like, "Arr!" That part. That was great.
Well, so funny you should say that. That was actually added in post-production, that whole scene.
Really?
Because when they first did it, there was a couple of the scenes they added in. The first initial screening, the audience was like, yeah, it's okay, but there's just not enough action with Jackie Chan in it. So they added some more scene. The bar scene was another one they added in.
Really?
Like the fight scene, not him like
being in the bar and everything.
Being in the bar, but like, I think maybe he was just supposed to, like, you wouldn't even see him until Chris Tucker came out or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they added that fight scene in the bar, and then they added this scene with the pot with the vase as he's like holding it while he's fighting everybody. So I think there's like a few other little things they added, but yeah, the audience just didn't think there was enough action in it for a Jackie Chan movie. So
I will say, for this movie, for the time, it looks incredible. Like, it's very clear.
Yep.
The picture quality is very very clear. The colors are very, vibrant enough.
Yep.
There's sharpness, and it's just like, I'm watching it, and in the whole opening scene, it's like it's a dark scene, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not grainy. Like all the dark
Mm-hmm.
areas are not grainy. They
Yeah.
look really good, and I'm like,
Yeah.
throughout this whole movie, I could just kept thinking back to myself. I'm like, man, this looks like it could have been shot like yesterday. It looks
Mm-hmm.
really good.
Yeah, it does.
Which, speaking of, I mean, this movie doesn't feel like a '90s movie, really. It feels almost timeless, other than the fact that like whenever they use a cell phone, it's like a flip phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But other than that, like, it kind of feels timeless. Am I wrong?
No, no, I agree with you on that. I
All
mean,
right.
yeah, I don't feel like this movie, watching it now, feels as fresh as it did the first time watching it. I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
like, just aesthetically and everything. Like, I don't think that it's the way that people carry themselves in the movie, the way that just things are in the world in the movie. Yeah, I don't think that there's any. It doesn't seem dated at all. So
Yeah.
yeah.
There's nothing that's like, this is 1990. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's driving a
Mm-hmm.
classic car. Somebody today
Yeah.
could be driving that classic car and it
Yeah.
would look just the
Mm-hmm.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, man, this just looks like visually, the cinematography
Mm-hmm.
looks stunningly clear,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't really date itself
Yep.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's, but I don't feel like it dated itself that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when do you feel like in this movie, because this is one of our movies for our Best Bud Summer, at what point do you think they started to become friends? Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
Hmm. You know, I really don't think it's. No, I know what it is. When they're upstairs in the restaurant
Oh, okay.
and they start having to like they're back to back and they're having to fight all these guys that are coming at them. I feel
Uh-huh.
like that's kind of where
That
it
was a good
starts
scene too.
to. Yeah. Yeah.
I
What
think it
about
was a
you?
little before that. I think it
Okay.
was a little before that. I think when they're out on the street
Mm-hmm.
and they park the car and they're surveilling the Chinese restaurant and they start playing war and they're sitting outside the car
Oh
and
yeah.
they start having that
Yeah.
back and forth and they like do the little disarming of the gun thing and he's
Mm-hmm.
teaching them how to
Mm-hmm.
do that. I
Yeah.
think that's whenever they're becoming friends.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that,
I
like
agree.
there's a
Yeah. I've
transition
forgotten
right
about
there.
that. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
around that same time.
Yeah, because Carter's like stops becoming annoyed with him, and it's,
Mhm.
well, they both stop becoming annoyed with each other at that point. Because
They both
before
open up to
then,
each other.
yeah, before then they're completely annoyed with each other. Like Lee's
Well, I
like, oh
think
my
like
gosh, I
they're
just
looking at each other as obstacles to be
yeah,
overcome instead
yeah,
of allies to be worked with,
mm-hmm,
and they
mm-hmm,
start to see each other more as allies, and that's when they start to become friends. I
yep,
think,
yep,
which I really don't think you can say it was before that. I mean, before that, yeah, they were still like kind of fighting against each other, but
mm-hmm.
that's the turning point. I gotta say,
Yeah,
I
I
nailed
agree.
it.
In this scene, so I think the funniest part in the movie, in this scene, when Carter's getting ready to go inside, he hands Lee his badge, and he's like, "Well, when you
Oh
go
yeah,
in, just flash it." And you you see
he's got the big old afro.
the afro and the mustache and everything, and they just show it for like a second,
Yeah.
and it's so funny. It's so funny, and they added all that in post production. Like the original picture is just Chris Tucker like smiling with a uniform on,
Yeah.
and they thought it'd be funny post production to like add the afro and the mustache on him.
Oh, but it's because of the line. It's because Jackie Chan's line afterwards, where he goes, "I don't think people are going to believe I'm 6'1".
Yeah.
Which is just like, that's just comedically, it was so perfect. It was so perfect. I love that. That was one of my favorite lines for sure. I don't think people are going to believe I'm 6'1".
I'd forgotten about that scene, and I bust out laughing as soon as
Yeah.
they showed that. It's
That was
just
great.
so funny, so funny.
One more thing about these movies that I love, Jackie Chan movies, is at the end of a Jackie Chan movie, you always get, during the credits, these outtakes. And they're just so much fun. I just love watching the outtakes from the Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah, I miss that. Yeah, you don't see that as much in movies anymore. It's fun just to kind of see the bloopers at the end. Yeah.
So after watching this movie, what movie does it make you want to watch? Is there
Well,
anything that makes you want to watch?
honestly, and I was thinking this before our comment here, Shanghai
Yeah,
Noon. So
I was too.
one of our for those that are listening to the audio podcast, one of our loyal fans, Matt, he made a comment just now. They also did this movie again in the Old West with Shanghai Noon. Just get rid of Chris and add Owen Wilson, and you're exactly right, Matt. But yeah, I really wanted to watch Shanghai Noon after watching this. I was like, oh, I haven't seen that. And they had wasn't there a Shanghai Noon too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shanghai just half past noon? I don't know. I don't remember that. There was a Shanghai Noon too.
Yeah.
I think it was like, yeah, there was a sequel. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
I don't know if they called it Shanghai Noon 2 or what they called it.
Shanghai Nights. That's it. Thank
Shanghai
you, Matt.
Nights.
Shanghai
Right.
Nights.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know if they ever did it. I don't think they did a third though. But
No.
I
Shanghai
think
Morning.
I enjoyed Shanghai Noon more than I enjoyed Rush Hour. I want to say.
I don't know because it's been so long since I've watched Shanghai
Yeah.
Noon, but I really like Owen Wilson, so I could see myself liking going back and watching that and be like, oh yeah, I did like this better than Rush Hour.
It was a close one for us whenever we picked this episode between those two, and I think we ended up settling on Rush Hour because it was earlier in Jackie Chan's career, and it was kind of a more pivotal movie for him, bringing him into the American audience, which is why we picked it. But
yeah,
it was definitely a close one.
Yeah, we'll have to do Shanghai Noon. And,
absolutely.
Yeah,
there's so many movies, but
I know. We've mentioned it before. I don't know if we've mentioned it live, but like we've got enough stuff to get us to like 2035 or something like that. It's just keep listening. We'll keep going. So
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I don't have any more thoughts. I think I've exhausted them all.
Yeah, same. It was fun to watch. It was
well, when did you one thing we didn't cover, when did you first watch this movie? Do you remember your first? Oh, you said you went and saw it in the theaters. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
with our aunt. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I think I saw it in theaters in high school.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I mean, it was marketed pretty well. I think it was it was pretty popular.
If it was a summer movie, I might have been there with you whenever you and Kathy and Linda.
I bet we probably went together and watched it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, one more thing I need to touch on.
What you
Sorry, I've got this in my notes and I'd forgotten.
Yeah.
Crack me up. The scene where they are in the back of the taxi and they're pointing guns at each other, right? They get out of the taxi and they're pointing guns at each other and they're arguing. They've got guns drawn.
Yeah.
Then the taxi driver pulls out a gun, out his own piece. It was just a funny image. I thought it was silly. It was just a funny image. But,
that felt like more. It would go better if it was based in New York than if it was based in L.A.
Yeah.
Like if it was based in New York, I feel like that would have gone over 100 times better.
Yeah.
But it was still funny. I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, do you have any stale popcorn?
Stale popcorn. I do. I have a bit of a bone to pick, if you will.
Okay.
So my wife's birthday is coming up,
and
we just did a Goofy movie. Well, a Goofy movie is 30th anniversary this year, and really this month. I think whenever our Goofy movie episode drops, it's right around the 30th anniversary. No, I'm sorry, correction. The movie came out in like April, I think. Goofy movie, so it's just past its 30th anniversary. But anyways, it's still going strong. Anyways, for my wife's birthday, I got her Funko Pops of Max and Roxanne. And we did Goofy movie last week, and we were talking about it. And then I go in her office the other day, and on her shelf behind her desk is the Max and Roxanne Funko Pop. And we're in the middle of a conversation. I don't remember what we're talking about. We're talking about something. And I glance over and I see him. I'm like, did you get a Goofy movie, Max and Roxanne? And she goes, yeah. And she's kind of smiling, like, knowingly. And my daughter's standing over there, who was with me whenever I bought it for her.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to get these for your mom for her birthday.
Yeah.
And I turned to my daughter and I was like, she got them. And then she's like, yeah, no, I was with her. And I was like, you were with her? You were with me whenever I bought them. She double-crossed me.
Oh, man.
Now I have a Goofy movie, Max and Roxanne.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
I didn't even know they made those. I guess
Yeah, they just
they
came
make
out.
everything. Yeah,
It's
wow,
Max
that's
as
cool.
Powerline, which is
Oh
fun.
man, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
Hey, what you got for a stale popcorn?
I don't have any stale popcorn this
No,
week.
okay. Nothing to
None.
bring
Couldn't
up.
think of anything. So everything's cool right now. I'm
Fair
not.
enough.
It's nothing I need to bring up. So yeah, we'll go. We'll roll right in
You got some gum under the seat
to
for us?
our gum under the seat, which is our comments section for those that are new for us. I got a couple here. First one is on our Serenity episode from Fozzie Guy. He said, I was at Gen Con Indy, he said, 4 best days in gaming in 2005, and they had a giant projector showing different things. One of the things it showed was the Serenity trailer. Whenever it played, everybody just stood around watching it. It was interesting to see it being shown to people that appreciated it. I think
Ooh, I bet. Yeah,
that would have been great.
that's a
Would have
good
been great to be
experience.
there and see that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That I'm jealous. I'm a little jealous.
I know.
That's
I know. That'd be.
that's one of that's a good experience. Oh man.
Well, that's the thing. Like, like I said, when we were doing those episodes, or that we did Firefly and then Serenity, I wasn't on board with all that when those came out. I just didn't even know they existed, really. I mean,
Just
I knew,
missed it.
yeah, I saw stuff for Serenity, but I'm
You were
like, I
busy
don't
in
know
high
what
school.
this is. Yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, that would have been great. That would have been great to see that. Sorry, I'm
You
reading
had
a
a comment,
comment here.
live comment.
Yeah, from Matt. From Matt. I don't think you answered it on Spotify, but one of your questions about your favorite Chinese restaurant as a kid, Beijing Chinese. Ah, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we did do a question on Retro Ramble on what was our favorite restaurant as a kid. Beijing Chinese, best Chinese I've ever had. Though to be fair, I almost exclusively got the shrimp fried rice. So if you all don't know, unless you're from the area of Missouri we live in, there used to be a Chinese restaurant in town that was called Beijing Chinese Restaurant. The owners were from Beijing, and it was to die for. It was so good. It was so good.
So much MSG.
Oh yeah, and they would have. I mean, this is before like these restaurants. For most Chinese restaurants you go to now, they're buffets or whatever. This was not a buffet. I mean, it eventually became a buffet, but it was for the longest time it was table service. They would have like these platters they'd bring out that had hot coals on them that were like on fire that you could roast your meat on and everything. Oh, it was great. And they had the best. I don't know if you remember this, Matt. The best crab rangoon was, oh my gosh, It was so good. So yes,
I always got the same thing when I went to Chinese places.
Yeah?
Yeah, I always got pepper steak everywhere I went.
Oh yeah, pepper steak's good. Yeah, I still get pepper steak.
I never branched out as a kid, but I did start to, like, probably in the last like 10 years or so. Started branching out and doing more things, sweet and sour pork.
Yeah, yeah. I had some pepper steak sweets. I had some pepper steak last night. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I definitely enjoy me. I like going now, and I'm kind of like, I wish I would have. I wish I would have explored more culinarily as a kid, because there were a lot more buffets, and I didn't have apprehension towards a buffet that I do now as an adult. Now I have a little. I'm not going to a buffet. I'm just not going to eat at a buffet now. I don't trust them. Something about it just doesn't sit right with me. I haven't seen a buffet where I'm like, that sneeze guard looks like it's going to hold up.
Yeah.
So I don't do buffets now, but I wish I would have explored. Whenever I was a kid, we'd hit the buffet. I'd always hit the same 3 things. I didn't really explore. I didn't explore culinarily. I wish I would have.
Yeah.
Now, whenever I go out, I get to pick one thing, and I'm kind of stuck with that. So exploring can be kind of a crapshoot, if you will. But anyways.
Yeah, I think back to our cousin one time. He described to me how he feels about buffets, and he says they might as well just be feeding troughs. And okay, I still enjoy a good buffet, but
that's fine.
But I get it. Down there in Springfield, Matt says cashew chicken is their thing. Created in Springfield. I had
Really?
no idea. Huh.
I like cashew too. That's a
Interesting.
good one too.
Yeah, yeah, it is
Yeah, a
good.
lot of cashews. Bang for your buck
That's right.
there.
That's right. That's right. Okay, our next comment was on our Doom episode. Will Ford 81 over on YouTube said this episode brought me back to my earliest PC game days. And I love Will's comments. There's a lot of stuff to read, but they're
Good
great.
details.
I remember playing classics in school, such as the Oregon Trail and Carmen Sandiego, and on the old green screen Apple computers. Man, you're just a few years older than me, Will, but it's all right.
Hey, they didn't upgrade them that often in the schools.
No, that's true. That's true. A few years later, it was Minesweeper and Ski Free on PC. I can still picture the Yeti eating my dude on those slopes. I remember Ski Free.
Yeah.
That was fun. I even vaguely remember Mario is Missing and Mario Teaches Typing. In junior high, I had a study hall class, and a classmate had downloaded Wolfenstein and Doom on a few of the computers. Somehow, we were able to covertly play these games to completion without the study hall teacher noticing. Looking back, I think that teacher knew exactly what we were doing, or knew exactly what was going on, but was just thankful to have a period where he didn't really have to do anything. Someone eventually caught on and removed the games from the computer, thus beginning a cycle of my classmate re-downloading games periodically so we could keep playing. And he says, nice episode, guys. Now that I'm on summer break, I look forward to getting to the backlog of episodes that you guys have and catch up on. And thanks, Will. We appreciate that. Yeah, that's that's great. I remember I had a computer networking class when I was in high school. I took that. It was computer networking repair. Halfway through the year, we had gotten through all of our assignments, like everything. We got through the whole book. And we had literally gotten certified in networking repair and all this. And all we had to do was just go to different, like if the school had a networking issue or computer issue, they would call us and we'd go and we'd handle it. And then we get a hold of the teacher if for some reason it was beyond our understanding. But I remember most of that time, the second half of the school year, all of our computers, including the teachers, faced away from the door of the room. Oh. And they were in rows, and we would just fire up like the original Call of Duty and Jedi Knights of the Old, or not Knights. It was not Jedi Outcast. It was the one right after that, Jedi Academy, were the two big ones we played. But yeah, we would just play computer games most of the day, and then occasionally go out if somebody in the school district had an issue with a computer, and our teacher would play with us, and we just had a code. If somebody walked in to the door, whoever saw it first would say car, and then everybody would just minimize their screens and just look like we were actually working. But the teacher was in on it. It was great. Yeah.
I'm jealous. I did not have these kinds of friends in high school.
Yeah.
My friends did not know computers like that.
Yeah.
I had two games that I played in high school computer labs. One of them was like gorillas or monkeys on rooftops throwing bananas back and forth. And like you would just type in numbers to gauge like power and arc, and then it would explode the building and you hopefully hit the other monkey. And then, which was, primitive fun, no pun intended. And then the other one was on the Macs, we would have Breakout. I loved Breakout. That was a fun one. It was like the color Breakout, and like you get like some of the special balls, like you'd have like the frog ball or the sticky ball or like multi-ball and all this other stuff. That games. One was a lot of fun. I wasted so much time.
Yeah.
But nothing else. Nothing really beyond that. Like, I don't know. It was
a good time. We had one girl in our class, and then we had one guy that was like in his 50s. He had just gotten like a grant to come and learn computers or whatever, and he owned a donut business in town, and he was just like wanting to learn computers a little better for his business. So a lot of times, like he would leave because he wasn't a student at the school, like full time or whatever. Occasionally he'd play with us, but he was terrible at them. And then Carrie was the girl's name, and she would just like, she didn't like video games, so she would, I don't know, she'd read or something. But it was just such a blow off class after the second half of the year. It was fun. It was great. Last comment we have is on our, this is an old episode, Dragon Warrior, that we did first year doing this. I don't remember. Dragon Warrior was probably like our 6th or 7th episode, I think. Audio Android. It was. Audio Android says, I'm age 50 now, and looking back on the release of Dragon Warrior in the US brings back some memories. I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos on why Dragon Warrior failed, but Final Fantasy had success, and they all get it wrong. He says, the truth was simple. We in the US really felt that Final Fantasy was a US creation, and Dragon Warrior was a Japan product. So it was US against, I guess us, he says, against them. Now I myself could care less. I love both games, but that attitude played a huge part in it that no one ever talks about. In the 80s and early 90s, it was a thing, not just in games, but auto sales and other products. Again, he says, great video. Keep up the good work. Appreciate that, Audio. Yeah, I had not really thought about that. I remember there was a time where it was kind of like stuff from Japan was junk.
Right. But I think you didn't go out of your way to look up Japanese import games.
Yeah.
At least not everybody did.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you kind of did a little bit, didn't
you? No, I never got into Japanese import games.
Who did? Maybe you had a friend that was into that or something.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm getting it wrong.
Not me. I always looked at it like, I don't want to learn another language just to play the same game. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. Yeah. There's plenty of games over here that I can't get or afford, or I gotta trade in half my game library just to get a new one most of the time. So why am I gonna make it one that, like, then I also gotta learn another language with? No, forget that.
Some of those games, I don't remember back on the NES days. I'd have to go and play some of them, but some of those games, they would have like an English language option on them.
Okay.
Even if they came from Japan. I know a lot of games. So any games that there's one specifically for Super Nintendo called Terranigma that did not release in the United States, but if you buy the PAL version of it, so the European version, it has French, German, something else, and then an English language in it, so you could play it that way.
Okay,
but yeah.
And I always thought Dragon Warrior was the U.S. Like, I always thought of Dragon Warrior as a U.S. game. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm guessing.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just I never really gave it much thought. Of course, back then, like I remember the first time I played Final Fantasy. I played it after I played Final Fantasy VII, and it was not anything like Final Fantasy VII. You have to literally build your own party at the beginning, and then you're just kind of free to kind of go wherever you want. And I didn't like it, so I just didn't keep playing it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting take on that. So, but yeah, that's all our comments. Comments. So yeah.
All right. I guess with that, like, I got my retro ramble, and we wrap this up. Be on our way.
Yeah.
All right. So my retro ramble for you for next week. I don't know if you're ready for this one. What's a song that you're not ashamed to admit brings a tear to your eye? Something to think about.
Okay.
We'll get a little deep next week.
Get a little deep. Getting a little bit emotional on the next episode. Yeah. Sounds good.
With that, we've reached another checkpoint, my friends. Remember, sharing is caring. Reviews help a lot. And we're going to keep them coming. So come on back next week, and we'll see y'all around.
See ya. This Podcast Takes Tokens is a Clay Street production.